Hey guys, so today I have swatches of some of the new Live Love Polish brand polishes. I have a bunch of the creams that just released. I think there's a couple shimmers like in the cream collection. And then I have the Breast Cancer Awareness Month trio as well. I think there's 15 polishes altogether. So I will link the website down below where you guys can check these out and I will get into the swatches. Okay, so before I get started, right at the beginning here, I have a couple gripes with these polishes that I have to get out of my system here. First off, these are pretty expensive polishes. These creams run $13, and then the Breast Cancer Awareness Trio polishes run $16. The caps here are removable, and then you have that cap there that you actually hold while you're painting your polish. The outer cap here, I don't know if you can see if it's catching in the light. A lot of these are pretty scratched up. They're pretty rough looking. And I know part of that is just because of the finish. They have a shinier finish. They're going to scratch easier. But for the price, I would want these to be in a little bit better shape. From my own experience, I would assume that that happened when the caps were being shipped to wherever the polishes were bottled. But that's one thing. I mean, for the price, you don't want them to come in such rough shape. And most of them actually look like that. The other issue that I had, and that will kind of transition into the first polish here, is that all of the creams only have one mixing bead in them, which is not really enough to really get the polish mixed up if it starts to separate. You really need the motion of two moving against each other. The Breast Cancer Awareness Trio polishes do have two mixing beads in each of them, so I'm assuming that that was remedied since I got the creams about a month ago, and then the breast cancer polishes just came last week. There's only one mixing bead in all of the creams except for this blue here, which is the first one that I will swatch for you. This is called Tribeca, and I'm going to take this cap off so you can see we've got a little Neapolitan ice cream thing going on here. It's really light at the top and it's dark at the bottom. When I did my swatch picture for this polish, I had just gotten it because I used it to layer over another polish, so it had not separated yet. This one actually has no mixing beads in it. So I was not able to get this mixed back up, shake and shake and shake and shake and shake, and it still wants to separate. And a lot of times if you have a separated polish, it's not the end of the world because they look bad in the bottle, but they still apply fine. This one doesn't. It is separated to like the point of no return. So I'm going to swatch this. Maybe this is kind of me being a jerk, but I'm going to swatch this how I have it. And then I do have mixing beads in my house, again, because I do make polish, but I would think it's safe to assume that 99% of people don't just have stainless steel mixing beads laying around. So I'm going to do like a quick swatch with this just to show you how it's applying now. Then I'll throw a couple mixing beads in it and see if I can get it shaken up. Out of all of the creams, this is the only one that has separated like this. None of the other ones have even remotely separated. Right out of the bottle, I want to show you what this is looking like. I'm getting like some gummy, goopy stuff on the brush. I don't know if you can see it, kind of creating strings there. Right now, I'm running on the assumption that this is solely because of the mixing bead issue, so I'm hoping I can fix this, but this is how it's applying for me right out of the bottle. Lots of dark streaks, some gummy kind of pigment chunks in there. And like I said, my swatch picture is going to look really good because I did that really early into getting these polishes before this had sat. So that is what we're looking like before I put the mixing beads in it. I do have a lot more than I thought, even chunks of kind of like gummy dried out polish, and I'm hoping that maybe the mixing beads will mix those up, but I don't really think so. That kind of took me by surprise. So I'm going to take this off, throw a couple mixing beads in it, and see if I can get it shaken up. Alright, I have shaken this up pretty hard. You can see I'm starting to get some of that blue that was on the bottom mixed in. So I don't think this is ever going to look good from the outside of the bottle. I think that stuff that's separated is going to stick to the glass, but as long as I can get it to apply well, that's all I really care about. So I'm going to have to look a little bit closer at this. From this angle, it looks like I still have a few darker spots. There are still a few streaks of darker pigment through here, but they're not nearly as bad as they were before. I really just don't want to shake it anymore. But after putting a couple of those mixing beads in there, this is a lot better than it was. The formula actually feels really good this time. I haven't gotten any of those gummy chunks out that I had before I shook it up with the beads. And this is a little bit sheer in some spots, so it is going to need a second coat. So you can see that this does dry a bit matte, so you would want top coat to smooth that out. And it does cover completely in 2 coats. And I'm trying not to be like way over dramatic about the situation with this polish. I'm sure it's been fixed now, and I'm sure that the 1 to 2 mixing bead thing has, well, I guess I'm not sure. I'd assume that the 1 to 2 mixing bead thing has been fixed now since the 3 most recent polishes came with 2 mixing beads. I'm sure this one didn't have any accidentally. I don't think that was intentional. But this is also a $13 polish, so if I had paid that much money for it, because I didn't buy these, but if I had paid $13 for this polish and had that big of an issue with it, I would be pissed. So now that that's out of the way, all the rest of these are pretty good. So the next polish is called Linen, and this is just a white cream. So this is actually a super opaque white cream. It dries pretty smooth. It levels itself out pretty well. I'd say this is going to be a 1 or 2 coater, just depending on your application. I'm going to end up doing 2 because I don't think I'm going to be able to get it even enough for 1 on all of my nails. Finding a good white is always nice. Great formula on this one. It might be a little bit on the thicker side, but I don't think it's too thick at all. For nail art, if you were layering something over this, I think you'd probably be fine in 1 coat. I don't think you would need 2, but if you're just going to wear it out as a white manicure, just like I said, depending on your application, you would probably end up wanting that 2nd coat. I'm going to do 2 here just because that's how I'm showing it, but nail art wise, I think you'd be fine with 1. So this one does cover completely in 2, and it also dries a little tiny bit dull, so you would want top coat for that. It does seem like there's some ridges in here when I'm applying it, but those do level themselves out as it dries. So that is 2 coats of linen. The next polish is called Chelsea Piers, and this is a really, really light, almost white, like grayish blue color. It's actually one of the more unique colors out of all these creams. So this also has pretty good coverage on that first coat for being such a light color. This is another one that I think is really close to a 1 coater, might be a 1 coater for some people depending on how they apply it, and really good formula on this one. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. It was really close in 1. I just had a few very minor streaks, like darker spots where you could see my nail showing through. And this does dry pretty shiny. So that is 2 coats of Chelsea Piers. The next polish is called Cashmere, and this is a very, very light nude. It has a slightly pink tone to it, and then a soft, I don't even know if it's going to pick up, you can kind of see it on the edge of the bottle there, kind of pearlized shimmer. So this is another one that's pretty nicely opaque on that first coat. It is a very light polish with a very light shimmer, so the shimmer isn't crazy apparent. It really doesn't make the polish look frosty at all either. It just adds a little bit of a glow to it, and the formula here is also really good. So 2 coats does cover on this one completely. And since it is such a subtle shimmer, you don't have to worry about any brush strokes through there at all. And it does dry pretty decently shiny. So that is 2 coats of Cashmere. The next polish is called Chai Latte, and this is a light tan nude. This one is a bit more on the sheer side. It's not like crazy sheer, but it's sheer compared to all the others. It looks a little bit more jelly-ish, so I can still see my nail line through it, and then there are a few streaks, but for the most part it kind of evens itself out. Great formula on this one as well. So this one is still just a smidgen sheer on that 2nd coat. Actually, who knows? Let me let that settle first. That actually settled pretty well. I think I'm only going to do 2 coats on this one. I think I only did 2 in my pictures anyway. If you have a very, very white nail line though, you might want to do 3 if you do want that covered up, because this is a little bit more on the jelly side. So that is 2 coats of Chai Latte. The next polish is called Cobblestone, and this is an almost rosy nude color. So this one also covers pretty well on that first coat. I can see a little bit of nail line poking through there. This feels a little bit more and looks a little bit more jelly-ish. A little less than the last one, but more than all the other colors so far in the collection, which have been very, very cream and very opaque. Good formula on this one as well. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. And it's a solid 2-coater with the last one. Like I said, I think it could be 2 or 3 depending on your application and how white your nail line is. This one's a little bit more opaque, so it definitely covers completely in 2. And it also dries pretty shiny. So that is 2 coats of Cobblestone. The next polish is called Monroe, and this is a bright red. So this is actually a really opaque red polish. I was expecting this to be a bit more jellyish as well, because that's kind of just what reds this shade generally are. But this is super opaque, very cream, not jelly at all. It's not quite a one coater for me, but it is very close. Formula is pretty good. I feel like it's a little bit on the thick side, but it's not terrible. So you can see that the color is a little bit uneven, like my ring finger is a little bit lighter because my coat was a little bit thinner there. So even though this covered really well on that first coat, I like the second coat here just to even the color out, deepen it kind of across the board. And this also dries very shiny. So that is 2 coats of Monroe. The next polish is called Wine Bar, and this is this darker kind of purpley reddish color. So this is a little bit, wow, I keep hitting the paper. This is a little bit sheer on that first coat. It's just lighter than it should be, it has a couple of streaks. This also has a little bit of a jelly-ish consistency just compared to some of the earlier creams in the collection, and really good formula on this one. So this does cover completely in 2 coats. That second coat evens everything out and does deepen the color a little bit. And this polish also dries very shiny. So that is 2 coats of Wine Bar. The next polish is called Brownstone, and this is a kind of burgundy color. And this one covers really well on the first coat, not quite a one coater. It still has a few uneven spots. Great formula on this one. So this polish does cover completely in 2 coats. And it does deepen the color a bit from covering up those light spots, and also dries very shiny. So that is 2 coats of Brownstone. The next polish is called Cold Brew, and this is a very, very dark brown. So this one does cover completely in 1 coat. It does have a little bit of a thicker formula, but it's not terrible. That is how you get that coverage in 1 coat. And this is very, very dark. I think it would probably be confused for black in certain lightings. So that is 1 coat of Cold Brew. The next polish is called LBD, and this is a black cream. This is also completely opaque in 1 coat, easily. I do feel like with the last one, and I should have mentioned it while I was swatching, that you might end up needing to, just depending on your application. This one, though, is a pretty solid 1 coater. And a great formula on this one as well. So that is 1 coat of LBD. The next polish is called Sparks Will Fly, and this is an iridescent glitter topper. I'm going to layer this over the black that I just put on. This is actually really interesting. When I looked at it directly in front of me, it looked like the iridescent glitters were shifting kind of green to blue, but then looking at it in the camera, they look very gold orange. So this is really cool. So obviously you can put this over any color you want. I just like to put these over darker colors in videos so you can really see the shift. And see if I tilt my finger there, it looks very gold orange here and green blue from that angle. All the glitters in here are the same size, so that does mean you have to work a little bit more to even it out. And this will dry a little bit textured also because it is glitter, so you will want top coat to smooth that out. The formula itself is actually not thick, which always surprises me because in my experience these iridescent glitter polishes, when they're very densely packed like this, tend to be almost gel-like, and this isn't like that at all. So that is 1 coat of Sparks Will Fly. So the next 3 polishes are from a Breast Cancer Awareness Month trio. These are available together in a trio for a little bit of a discounted price or individually. I believe these ones are running $16 because of the holographic. And these were just recently restocked on the site, and they'll only be available for the month of October. So this first polish is called Hope, and this is a very light pink holographic. This one is a little bit more on the scattered side than the other 2. So this is a touch sheer. It is a very light color. It applies very evenly. I can just see my nail line through it. And a great formula on this. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats, though I do think if you had a really, really white nail line, you might end up needing 3 to cover it completely. That is just a guess because I don't have a really white nail line, but it kind of seems like you might be in that situation. This does dry a little tiny bit dull, so you will want top coat. And this definitely has, like I said earlier, more of a scattered, a little bit more of a subtle holographic than the next 2. So that is 2 coats of Hope. And the next polish is called Fight Like a Girl, and this is a, I guess, kind of medium pink, super holographic. So this one is also a little bit sheer on that first coat. I can definitely see my nail line through there. This one should build up fine though, because it is so holographic. That definitely helps to make things look more opaque. And a fantastic formula on this as well. So 2 coats does cover completely on this one. I feel like from some angles I'm telling myself I can still see a bit of nail line, but that linear holographic in there is very strong, so it does distract from it. I don't think it's really necessary for that 3rd coat. So that is 2 coats of Fight Like a Girl. And the last polish is called Warrior, and this is a darker pink linear holographic. So this is also a little bit sheer on that first coat. I can still see my nail line. This is another one with a very strong holographic to it, and a great formula on this as well. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats, and that second coat does deepen the color a little bit as well, and this one also dries pretty shiny. So that is 2 coats of Warrior. So I really like the lighter pink Fight Like a Girl holo. I guess this is the medium pink one out of the 3. I feel like this had a really strong holographic, and I just like this shade of pink in general. Tribeca would have been my favorite, but I had the mixing bead issue, which kind of put me off to this one, even though I know I can fix it myself. I still think that when you get a polish, you shouldn't have to add mixing beads to it, so I'm a little put off from that. But color-wise, Tribeca would have been my favorite, but I picked Fight Like a Girl instead. So those are some of the fairly new-ish polishes from Live Love Polish. Again, I will link that website down below where you guys can check those out. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.